What will I do without Dave Hollis's advice and knowing everything about his life? What am I to do? Hi! Welcome back to my channel. After getting a lot of new subs and viewers from covering Rachel Hollis's return to the internet, I also got some criticism because of my older video about Dave Hollis, where I really did, and I totally agree with everybody, let him off the hook way too easy, because basically in this video I did a deep dive into Dave Hollis, kind of talked about his, beginnings, what his life was like, pretty all-American type of life, so it seemed. I think there's truth to everything. There's nuance in everything, right? I've said that multiple times. Nothing is black and white. He's bad, she's bad, they're good, she's good. It could be a mixture of both. I think everyone, including you at home, including myself, we have good and bad traits, or traits that could be considered good by some and traits that could be considered bad by some. You're never going to please everybody all the time. You're never going to be the same type of personality all the time. Anyways, there's a lot of factors as to what makes up every single person and how they show up every single day. I think in my videos, I have come across giving Dave the benefit of the doubt and not so much giving Rachel the benefit of the doubt most of the time, and I think that's not fair. Raise your hand if you've been personally affected by Dave Hollis. He blocked me. Was it warranted? Maybe. I swear to the stars above that I did not bully Dave Hollis in any way. I just feel sometimes it's unfair to go on Reddit and write about people like very long form, like Dave did this today, Dave Hollis did this, Rachel did this, but then like never to cross the barrier into like giving your opinion to the public or giving your opinion to the person you're talking about. I've always felt weird about that. Like, how can you be so invested in this person but never like tell them? It almost like, to me, it almost seems like you're not giving them the opportunity to change or to experience your opinion. So on my main account, I was going through Dave's stories one day, and he was showing his beautiful daughter, who's, the sweetest soul I feel like I've ever seen in my life. This is the child that he's chosen to make a YouTube show with. He's writing a children's book about her, and he gives her a lot of airtime on his Instagram because I think people love seeing her. And she's on camera a lot for like a little 3 or 4-year-old. She's very young. So he was showing her roller skating around in like a roller skating rink, and she was struggling. She's like holding onto the side. First of all, Dad, why don't you hold her hand instead of pushing the camera in her face? But I digress. She's holding the side and like, barely chugging along, trying to, she's smiling, but she's like struggling. You can tell in the Instagram. Okay, fine. Cute moment, whatever. He's saying like, oh, look at her roller skating. He's got like a song playing in the background. And then the next slide is her like holding on for dear life. And the caption that Dave has written, it says, "What should this meme be? You can vote here." And it's like, this is not her life necessarily. It's not making fun of her, Noah, but it's really to be a joke, to represent something in your life that's funny. Like, what are you holding on to? Whatever. Okay. So me watching this, I'm like, come on, like stop trying to take precious moments with your family and make it into content that is gonna be like shareable engagement. But he knows that getting engagement on these Instagram stories can translate into selling ads that he loves doing, sponsored posts about scales, about teeth whitening, about whatever he's selling. He knows that having these sponsored posts, you're gonna have to show that you have great engagement on your stories in order to charge higher prices. So putting a cute video of your daughter may get some engagement, but adding a poll to like vote for which meme that it should turn into is gonna get a lot more engagement, right? And I worked in social media for a news station for many years at the beginning of like when social media was really becoming like big business sponsoring and all that stuff. So this is stuff that we would do. We would put a news story, and I'm not saying this is right and he's wrong. I'm saying we're both wrong. Taking a murder story and making it into like a post that people could share, and it was just like, ugh, bah. So I did it, okay? I did it because that was my job, and I did it. And I was like in my, early 20s. I had no clue, what other viewpoints were other than show up and do your job and shut up, because that's what I was told my whole life. Anyways, this is going on a tangent. So I responded to Dave's meme of his daughter asking people to come up with memes or vote for their favorite meme. And I said, why don't you just spend quality time with your daughter? That's it. I didn't say like you effing jerk or like you stupid buffoon. Like none of that. I did not use that language. All I said was, why don't you spend some quality time with your daughter? Obviously, it's not positive, and he is number one Mr. Positivity, good vibes only, baby. So blocked. That's the entirety of the story. Not that exciting, but I think it does show that criticism is not allowed in Hollisville ever. You're not allowed to, if you're criticizing them, it's not like, hey, he could have easily, because he's like, oh, I'm so authentic and transparent. Like, he could have taken that comment and said, hey, some of you guys think I'm being a jerk with my children. Well, I just wanted to address that and say blah, blah, blah. No, he's going to be like, hey, guys, I know you've been asking me about this scale, and here's your discount. Like, swipe up right now because it's positive. It benefits him. Addressing something that's real, or a real concern to a lot of people, including myself, like, why are you exploiting your children on the internet? That's not cool to them because it's not going to make him money. It's not going to increase his growth on social media by taking his kids off his accounts. Because honestly, I don't think Dave's that interesting of a person. I don't know. He's trying to make like his kids little characters. And as we all know now, children's brains are not developed at that young of an age, especially his daughter who's like under 5. So she's got a camera in her face 24/7. She's on camera having tea time and her dad's like talking about all this stuff. Plus she came from an adopted, situation. So, who knows if her beginning was traumatic. Now she's got a camera in her face like every day. I don't know. It's just like when these kids grow up and they're 18, 21, or they're in high school and like all their peers have like access to all of this stuff, this content, you don't think they're going to get made fun of? What? Because they're rich? Like, they're going to go to good schools where every other kid is rich. So that's not really going to be a nice buffer to save you from being ridiculed, in my opinion. There's been people like this and people like this and people like this who completely like have made it very overtly obvious of the pitfalls that come with putting kids on YouTube. So many family vlogging channels are just ridiculously successful and also ridiculously exploitative. Dave has Tea Time with Noah. It's been around for a while. It's really boring, in my opinion. It's shot like he shoots it himself, obviously, in like the worst angle possible. But okay, he's trying, whatever. Now he's got a new show called Ford for Thought. And obviously his son's name's Ford. It's a play on food for thought. And apparently Heidi Powell, his new girlfriend, came up with that one. So basically everyone in Dave's life, if you're someone close to him, you have to be a co-host of his show and answer questions about yourself and hopefully relate it back to Dave, because the real thing Dave wants to talk about is Dave. Like, let's be honest here. So let's watch the first episode of Ford for Thought. It was posted on Dave's YouTube page, and his YouTube page doesn't have that much interaction really. He's had it for a number of years, and he hasn't posted in a while. He's got like 4,000 subs, so like 4.7 thousand subs, which is pretty low for someone of his caliber. Before that, the last thing he posted was Tea Time with Noah, which was 1 year ago. But something I want to bring up is the comments, and they're like very positive, which is good, great. However, I don't know if I was a parent, which I'm not, but if I was a parent, I would want the comments there even to like Do they think their kids don't have access to the internet? Like they think that they're completely shut off or something, or they're never gonna know how to look at YouTube comments? Like YouTube is a notoriously horrendous place for people who just like want to say their thoughts, you know, they just want to like get their thoughts out there, including myself. Like I'm making videos basically just venting about, you know, random influencers on the internet essentially, and people who fake having cancer on TikTok. Like that's my whole brand on this channel. But, you know, I'm an adult. I'm able to read the negative comments that say that I'm like, you know, a loser and whatever. And I obviously can still be offended by them, but I'm not a child, which could be totally destroyed by that type of negative feedback from strangers. So the fact that he left the comments on, to me, I'm like, okay, you know, your son can probably go look at these. They're all seeming to be positive thus far, but you never know who's going to come on a channel and be like, your hair is stupid. Like even kids from his school probably, you know, could find this and just make like jokes about him, and that could be hurtful. Also, for the record, I never ever have said cancel Rachel Hollis, cancel Dave Hollis. I am just criticizing the choices that they make because they make them publicly and they make money from these choices. I don't care if they stay on the internet and keep doing what they're doing forever, but I'm allowed to say my opinion on it, and that's how I feel. So if you have a problem with that, like, I don't know what to tell you, and I'm not saying to cancel them, never buy their stuff. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I just have the right to say what I feel about it. Cool. Thank you for joining me. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's watch the Forward for Thought, and I'll give you my thoughts on it.
Hi, this is Forward for Thought, a show that I never thought I would do.
What is Forward for Thought?
Just where me and you just talk about all the random things in life that could be thought about.
Hey, yes, so tell me, Ford, what is Forward for Thought? And his kid's over here talking like, yeah, so it's just a show. And he's like,
Oh, that sounds right. What are we going to talk about on the first episode of Forward for Thought?
Dreams.
Oh, you already know the topic. Okay.
This part two, he's like, okay, so they obviously had like a little conversation before they hit record and said like, okay, what's the topic? But I feel like Dave wanted to be the one to like reveal the topic of the show. And when Ford's like, we're talking about dreams, he's like, oh, okay, well, I was gonna say that, but whatever. Okay, Ford, yeah, continue, whatever. I could have said that, but yeah, whatever. You gotta choose. Is this entertainment or is this just a slice of your life? Either set these things up in a professional setting, hire a videographer to come in and do this correctly. Like if you want your kids to be actors or like hosts of shows, then do that. Great, fine. But let them know what's reality and what's work. Because this is like half-assed between both of them. Like, we're just gonna set the camera up really bad and we're gonna record, but I'm also gonna like treat you differently on camera than I do off camera, because I don't think off camera he's holding a microphone and talking to his son, not looking at him. I hope to God not, but who knows? That's what I think is the solution here. Make it very clear to your children what is reality. So this is real life. This is what we do in real life. This is how we treat people in real life. And this is what we do when we're making money in the entertainment industry. I don't think that's very clear up to this point. I doubt, because this is like a mixture and it's confusing to an adult. It's going to be confusing to a kid too.
For some reason, I had like a nightmare where like every time I went outside, like I barely could come back in. It was like a cloudy day, and for some reason, as usual, Sora was in a hoodie, like chasing me around, and the only safe spot was your room.
Also, I don't know if they're live streaming this. I'm assuming so, because why would they just want to get one piece of content when they could get two pieces of content? But Dave is like on his phone during this like conversation where his son is revealing to him like, the only safe space I feel in my dream was in your room because my brother was chasing me around in my dream. Oh yeah? Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Like,
What do you think it means, you being locked out of the house?
Well, I'm not like locked out of the house. I'm in the house. For some reason, whenever I drink like a certain LaCroix,
And look at his son looking at him touching the phone. It's like he doesn't even know if he should finish the sentence because it's like, my dad's not even listening at this point. He's actually a really smart kid from what I can tell. He's got a great like vocabulary for being so young, and it seems to have a really calm presence, good on camera, great. He's like slowing down, waiting for his dad to like come back into the attention sphere so he can finish his thought.
like stress, like coming to me. But for some reason, I have nothing stressful going on, so it's weird.
Why would you feel that way if you have nothing stressful? That's odd. Do you think your dreams are like your unconscious mind trying to tell you something?
Okay, here we go into the deeper topic. So he's not stressed, or as a child, he thinks he's not stressed, even though he's just gone through his parents' divorce, which was less than a year ago. He's been perpetually put on camera by his dad. Every time that they're together, all his baseball games are recorded and sent out to thousands of people to watch. His dad has a new girlfriend who has now basically moved in or comes and visits like every week. He's got a new, like, almost stepmom, essentially, with her own brood of children that, you know, are being forced to be together. And I say forced because they're kids. They're not able to say, hey, you know, I really don't want to be a part of this blended family. I'm going to go move into my own apartment and have a different life than what you're offering me. They can't say that because they're children, and obviously they need to live with their parents, and the parents make the decision. So, God, I cannot say decision. The parents make the decision as to where they're going to live, who's going to live in the house with them, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's what I mean by that.
So yeah.
But do you think it's random, or do you think it actually like means something? I think it means something.
What are your thoughts of that?
Well, I think when you are feeling anxious, when you're like processing something new, your unconscious mind creates a dream like being locked out of your house, or showing up to school without clothes on, or whatever, that has your anxiety showing up in a way that you don't expect, but like it lives in your dream that way.
Before we let Ford answer this, I don't know why Dave is putting words in his mouth. Like, his son did not say he was locked out of the house. His son did not say that he, you know, dreamt that he was naked at school or whatever. So it seems like he almost, Dave himself, had this monologue that he wanted to perform on camera. And whatever Ford said, like, doesn't really matter. He was gonna, you know, bring it back to this. And Dave, I feel like, does this a lot. Like, he'll be at an ocean or something. And Rachel also does this too. They take, like stories that everyone could maybe relate to. Like, I was at the ocean and I was looking at the waves, and it reminded me of how fragile life is. You know, my life is very fragile, and it goes on to like talk about themselves. But like the story of the ocean doesn't matter at all. It's just to draw you in to a story about themselves without them starting like, hey, this is me, blah, blah, blah. It almost like kind of makes it seem like it's not about them, but it is really about them. Does that make sense? Rachel had a really perfect example of this in her bonus episode of her podcast that just came out, where allegedly she witnessed like a man dying in front of her, and she somehow tied it into her life and how important it is that she succeed. It was very odd. I don't even know how to process that episode currently, so I don't know. I might do a video about it. I may not. I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know. Anyways, let's go back to this video.
No?
But I have nothing like anxiety-inducing going on in my life.
You don't have any anxiety in your life right now? There's nothing anxious in your life?
Like, I mean, some things I want to happen, like me playing with my friends or something like that.
Okay.
But I'm not that anxious about it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not like that anxious to play with my friends because
Okay.
I know that I'm going to play with them again.
That's good.
But I have nothing really anxious going on in my life right now. It's just a random dream.
It's good to be you. I think dreams are leaving a little trail of breadcrumbs to a thing that your conscious mind has not yet seen. That if you can unpack what your dream is saying, you might learn something about what you're thinking about or feeling at a deep level that just isn't at the surface yet.
Just get to the point, Dave. You want to tell him he's got anxiety, just tell him he's got anxiety. Maybe he doesn't understand what the word anxiety means in the context that you wish to tell him. But, okay, let's see. Let's continue watching.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I mean, I don't really know. I think it's just a random dream that came upon my mind.
Okay, maybe it's random. I'm not saying that you can't have random dreams. I'm just saying there are plenty of times when I've had dreams and they've been connected to a thing I'm experiencing in my life, and I think the dream is there to either challenge me to think differently or show me a thing that I have to try and address or point me towards a set of tools that I need to use to get through something. I don't think it's random.
I mean, I have to agree with Ford here. Like, it seems like he's reaching. I guess maybe he wants to talk to his son about like the divorce and how stressful that can be for a child. But you're a child and you're not necessarily going to be like privy to that knowledge or like pick up on the cues of like where he wants the conversation to go. It's like a little uncomfortable to watch. He's innocent, and kids, I mean, to bring this back to me, when I was a kid, I had horrible anxiety, like to the point where I couldn't function in the world, at school, and nothing. I was like not able to like be around other kids because I was under so much anxious energy all the time. I had to like be taken out of school for months. Like it was really bad. Anyways, we'll get to that at another time. But I didn't know what anxiety was, and I didn't know that the family life that I was growing up in was the reason I was showing up to school and screaming my head off in fear and in like terror because of what was going on at home. And not that it was like that egregious, but to a kid that doesn't know how to like unpack their feelings, it felt like what was happening at home for me, which was a lot of instability, and my dad was in and out of my life, and he would show up, and we had money problems, and my mom was like, emotional and didn't know how to take care of a kid, and it was just a lot going on. I didn't know especially how to verbalize that. That's why I was coming to school crying and not knowing how to talk to anybody about it. I'm not saying that's what's happening here at all. My case was very extreme. But I don't think kids necessarily are going to understand, first of all, what unconscious versus conscious mind is. And also, like, tell me what your dream means. Like, that's a lot of, like, deeper level thinking for someone who's probably in school learning about, like, fractions and maybe multiplication. Like, they're not really thinking about philosophy at this point. So I think Dave's, like, trying to lead him down a road to, like, give his own, like, philosophical standpoint, but I think it's not quite his education level to be able to give his dad what he's asking for in this interview.
Well, there's nothing really going on in my life that involves that.
There's no drama.
There's not really any drama. It's summertime. I can relax.
I love that there's no drama in your life right now. That's the best thing I've heard all day.
I mean, this is good PR for Dave, for sure. Like, if anyone was, criticizing his parenting like I am, he could show you this video and say, well, my kid says that he is not anxious at all, and he is very happy that it's summertime. And I would be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I guess I'll shut up. But, that's a surface level, like, look, he's fine. He said he's fine. But obviously there's a lot of things going on in their life, so I'm just conflicted about this. Like, I think this should be done off camera, and maybe it has been, but I don't know if I need to know what his deepest, most inner anxieties are as a child.
I mean, sometimes I have this reoccurring dream that always goes on in my mind, and whenever I have it...
We've talked about it.
It's like... guess what it is, and it like makes me cry.
I don't want, if it's gonna make you cry, we don't have to talk about it today.
But this is also about dreams.
It is about dreams. Go ahead and tell people.
So it's very fast hot potato.
Very fast hot potato. People are passing a hot potato very fast.
Like faster than the Flash.
Faster than the Flash.
No, faster than the speed of light.
Faster than the speed of light. And your dream has you having to try and keep up with a fast passing potato.
No, it's just me watching.
Ooh, I wonder if the hot potato is like the cell phone, you know? Like, it's the hot potato. It's the thing that his whole family's passing around. Like, Heidi, the girlfriend's got the phone, and she's talking to the phone, selling her supplements. And Dave's in the phone, selling his teeth whitener. And they got the phone on Noah. They got the phone on him. They got the phone on the brother. Like, they have the phone everywhere. It's like the phone, the phone, the phone, the phone, the phone, the phone.
And it like stresses me out because I don't know where it's gonna go next. And when we looked it up online, it said like something about like stress and like you want something to do early or you want something to go good and you have to be early to something.
All right, so think about it for a second. If you were watching a fast hot potato in your dream, what might that mean about your actual life? Is there something that like feels like it's moving faster than you are comfortable with or that you can't control?
So let's give Dave credit where credit is due. Dave is opening the door, which I don't think it should be done on camera, but he's opening the door for Ford to say, yeah, your new relationship with Heidi is going way too fast. I have no control of it and it's making me stressed out. He's giving him the opportunity to say that. I don't know if Ford were to say, yeah, it's too fast, that anything would change. I'd be curious to find that out, but at least he's acknowledging it in like this metaphorical way. So I will give him credit for that. That's good parenting, I believe, at least acknowledging that there are things that may make you uncomfortable as a child. Yay.
Like sometimes I get a little bit of like bad grades in school, but school's over, so I don't have that dream anymore.
Don't have that dream.
So I'm like so I have that dream because it's too fast. I can't really keep up on like all the learning that my teacher is giving me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Look, just so we know, as long as you're doing your best, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
I mean, I love good grades, but I also only actually care about you putting your best effort forward. That's it.
Another good point. Thank you, Dave. Good grades are not the end all be all. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. As someone who did not have that choice as a student, it was A or don't bring it home type of mentality in my house. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you think that your dreams can ever give you a hint as to a thing that you should be spending your time with when you wake up? Like, do you think your dreams can like plant a seed?
Well, that recent thing was probably just a rotten old apple, not a seed.
A rotten apple, but not a seed.
Like, I think that like chain was already, or it was bad, and it just dropped, or that seed already grew, and it grew an apple tree, and that apple tree put down a rotten apple. It's probably something I experienced in the past.
Okay.
But now that apple is like expired, so
It's over. It's done.
yeah, it's over. It's done.
It needs to be thrown in the garbage.
Yes.
Okay, fair. All right. Anything else on dreams before we finish our first episode of Ford for Thought?
No.
Hey, this is fun. What do you think we'll talk about next week?
Like, what are the things that make you uncomfortable?
Ooh, what are the things that make you uncomfortable? Stay tuned. We'll dive into that next week on Ford for Thought.
Yep.
For me, it's this video that I just watched. I am really uncomfortable. I'm not even joking. I am joking, but I am uncomfortable. It just seems like a conversation that maybe could be had like with a child psychologist, like bringing up little things like, do you think your dreams mean anything? Like, what do you feel? You're not stressed? Like, that's something that I think could work for a child of his age, you know, like beating around the bush a little bit to get to the real answer, but not, for God's sake, for not on YouTube. Like, I know too much about their lives as like a hater know nothing, you know? So there's more episodes coming. Of course, I don't know if I will continue to watch. I probably will watch them just to see. I don't know. This is such a weird position to be in because I don't approve of these things, but then I feel like I have to watch them to see like if they cross a line, or like is there any information that I, you know, need to know to like further my opinion, because I am malleable, I am flexible. Even like I, you know, criticized Rachel Hollis really hard in my last 2 videos, and even now I'm like, you know, maybe I need to like back off a little bit. She's going through stuff, give her a chance. You know, she did talk about in her podcast like her brother's death. I think that's a really good place to start. I think she should talk about that more because I think it's something that other people can relate to, and she has a very unique perspective on that topic, and I really hope that if she's strong enough to, she feels like she can teach on that, because that's something that I would want to know about. I never experienced what she went through, but I think I respect her from her viewpoint on that topic. I don't respect her on relationships. I don't respect her or Dave. She doesn't have a unique perspective on those topics. She does on her brother's suicide, okay? So the more that she finds topics that she actually has authority on, I support it, and I want her to improve herself and improve her business. I have no hate towards her. I really don't have hate towards Dave, other than the fact that he blocked me and I'm bitter about it. Not really. I want them to succeed. I want everyone to succeed ultimately. There's time to change if you're still on this planet, so, you know, I'm rooting for you. And if you're at the end of this video and you're like, oh my God, that was a lot, that was too much, then I'm sorry, but I appreciate you sticking with me. And if you're interested in this type of content, or you want to just see me divulge into the void, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.